Hello and welcome to Box, the football talk show brought to you by Sportology TV with myself, Ali Drew. The guest joining me on the show this week is host and producer on Bate TV and also an avid Man United and Man United women's team supporter. Delighted to be joined by Adam Bateman. Adam, welcome to the show. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Great to have you on here. So just talk to me, before we get started talking about the seasons so far, talk to me about how you sort of got into this industry, how you became, to set up Bate TV, how you became to sort of love the women's game, because it's a growing sport.
It is. Well, to go back to the very embryonic stages, I've done a university degree at Huddersfield University, sports journalism. And so, previous to that, I did media studies at college. And so that got me the foundation of the journalistic side of things. And so the intrigue, I've always had the intrigue of asking questions of people, of wanting to have more knowledge, just being interested in football in general. And obviously, I did the university degree in 2007. And so, ironic that's the year Arsenal did, women's team did the quadruple back then, and now Chelsea are looking to do it this year. So come full circle in a way. But I say the women's football wasn't as big back then, and so it was kind of like sketchy to get much stuff even back then. It's a lot, say, easier now with Twitter and everything, and say Google and everything. So I've always had a passion for football and asking questions, and so from there, it's just kind of developed and snowballed into finally thinking, well, why not just set up my own, show and try and get my points of view across? If I hope somebody's interested, wants to listen to my views, or just generally, I like to talk to people about football and have grown to love women's football in particular. Because say before pre-COVID and all of this, getting access to footballers at the end of the pitch to have a chat and have a photo with them, that is something I think is, crucial to the separation from the men's game, where it's, say, a lot more commercial. And so, say, if you want to have a photo with, Nemanja Matic or Marcus Rashford or something, you've got 70-odd thousand there, you're not going to get the opportunity to do that. And so I just like the close-knitness, and I hope that's something that comes back, when fans are allowed back into the grounds. Because I just love it's like almost like a family atmosphere at women's games, and I just really like that. Sorry to ramble on, but I just got to give kind of a backstory, and so from there skip a bit. And I thought, go for it, and I did, and I'm very happy with what's happened so far.
And it is right. When we talk to anyone who's involved in the women's game for any team, that is one thing they say, that how close-knit it is, and the fact that they get to interact with the players, they're meeting the players, they know the players, so they feel like they can get behind them more. It is a much more personal experience than the men's game, where you are supporting a team and no one on that team will know who any of the fans are. They like having the fans, obviously, but it's not a personal thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely so. There's many a time at say an away match, for example, especially when we start up, say, the championship, where you can have a chat with, say, Lauren James, Katie Zellum at the end of a match of 5-10 minutes, whatever. I know you've got to get showers and get a coach and everything to go back home. But they always stood at photos, chat. So you can get a sense of the person behind the football, or say away from the cameras and stuff. You can get, if you just say hi, oh, I know you, yes. Because it's a fairly close-knit group of supporters going home and away. And so we kind of got, they got used to us, we got used to them. And so from there, we just kind of like grown and grown and grown. So you still see the players, you have this affinity for them. Of course, I have an affinity still for Marcus Rashford, Edison Cavani with the men's team. But, there's just kind of like, I wouldn't say separation, but, it's kind of like the pitch is there and you're here. With the women's team, we always seem to be one whole circle, if that makes sense. They need us, we appreciate them tremendously. And so it's just, family is kind of like the best way to summarize it, I think.
And are you hoping that there's going to be fans returning completely, fully, ASAP? Because that, I guess, for the men's game, they're saying the last game of the season, There's going to, the last two, home and away, there's going to be fans there, hopefully. What about the women's game? How is that working? Is there some fans already?
There's the annoying thing is because they put the date down. I think it was May the 18th that we can have men's fans back in stadiums. With the women's final we've seen with the Super League yesterday on May the 17th. So it's like, oh, can we not just push that date back one day and have the fans back for the last round of games? Because it just makes me think yesterday, with the closeness of the relegation battle there, with Bristol City, Villa, West Ham, just imagining if we had fans at those games. Oh, it would have been amazing. I mean, I know Chelsea won comfortably at the top at the end, second-minute goal. But even then, even the City West Ham game, imagine having fans at that game, or the Brighton Bristol game. It would have been fantastic. So that's kind of the, all so close, frustrating element of it all for me. But in terms of going forward, hopefully, I don't know with the tight dates and everything, because we've got the FA Cup games next Sunday. So I've not heard anything, but if there's a possibility of getting fans back, just one game at Leeds Sports Village gets the championship title winners, Leicester City, and obviously we know what it's like to win the championship title. Going against that, having fans there would be fantastic. I don't know if it's possible, if it will happen. But I've got no inside knowledge whatsoever. It's just a pray and a hope on my behalf. It would be fantastic just to have one game this season with fans. It would make a whole lot of difference. I mean, I've heard so many players from our team talk about how they've missed the fans and how they can't wait for next season to have fans here. But if it could just be arranged, I don't know what the FA's plans are, to have fans for one game, it would be truly, truly tremendous. I would absolutely love it more than anything.
Yeah, and it is about time. It's been a long time coming. And I suppose every season and it's almost, I suppose, every game, the women's game is growing in popularity. And I think maybe that you'll notice a huge jump. Now there's not been fans for so long. In that time, the game has grown even more supporters. So hopefully when it all returns to normal, there'll be even more support there for each team.
Oh, yes. I can imagine. My last game was at Leeds Sports Village in January 2020 in the FA Cup match against Manchester City, which we lost 2-3 at home. 2020, that's how long it's been. That whole gap. I mean, I want to get that taste of defeat out of my mind, out of my mouth.
You're not the best one to end on.
I mean, we that's the game where we should have scored and had a goal ruled out when it crossed the line from Elatoon. I've still not forgiven that. I hold a grudge. It's just been such a long time. It's crazy to think the amount of time that has passed since fans have been going to games. I mean, almost, I don't want to take it for granted now that you see on TV, empty stadium, football match. It's kind of almost got to be the norm in a way. I just don't. To me, that's not the norm for me. That is not properly. I mean, I can enjoy the victories on TV, and I can enjoy celebrating like we won a game yesterday. Both teams, the men's and the women's. But it's just there's just nothing like being in the stadium. You're seeing it firsthand, celebrating with your friends, and everybody's beside you, going crazy. Last minute winners. Oh, it's so fantastic. I mean, I remember being there when Lauren James scored past Liverpool, our first WSL goal. Oh, it was fantastic. But just these moments you can't get on the TV, and I just can't wait to get back there myself and just experience it again. Sooner the better.
Yeah, the sooner the better, definitely. How have you, just focusing on the women's game, how have you sort of thought, Man United's women's team have done this season? They finished fourth on the table. How pleased have you been with that? Is that where you expected? Is that better than you expected? Not as good.
If I was to give it a grade, I would give it probably like a C-, C+, something like that. Because at the start of the season, fantastic. We were top of the league, and then the injuries hit. I always say this: if you take out Fran Kirby, Sam Kerr, and 5 of Chelsea's best attacking players, and the same from Man City, no Chloe Kelly. Look at the impact she's had there. No Ellen White, no Sam Lewis. Take out their 5 best attackers, and that's what we had. For most of the season, we had no Tobin Heath. We had Christian Press quarantine regulations to begin with. For example, Tobin Heath never played against Chelsea, missed both games against Chelsea. Second time against injury, first time quarantine, open day of the season. Because imagine the impact Tobin Heath alone could have had against Chelsea. And then we had injuries to Leah Galton. Alicia Russo missed most of the season. She was a fantastic signing. So and Lauren James, she only played 10 games. She came off the bench against Chelsea open day of the season. Was clearly not fit. They missed the next 8 or 9 games, I think it was. So we've just been decimated by injuries since January onwards. And it's just heartbreaking, really, because you can see the amount of effort that the players have been trying to put in, but they've just been so hampered by our injuries. I mean, yes, there's been mistakes. Yes, we've made some silly mistakes in games that we lost and threw away that we shouldn't have lost, with all respect to our position. But to finish 1 point away from the Champions League qualification, it's just, there's moments. So I know the goal difference from Arsenal is fantastic. It's just so heartbreaking to miss out being so close. Because when you look at the players we've got, and it's just so cruel to miss out, because if we had them fit for even just 3 more games, say Lauren, Tobin and Christian, for 3 more games, I reckon, we would have been there. But it's just so, it's like last season was hard to judge because it was obviously cancelled when we had 3 games in hand. People say, we were 13 points behind Arsenal last season. It's just but this time, again, it's hard to judge fully because we had the squad. I believe our attacking options are as good as any of Chelsea and City, and we showed that. Opening day, drew with Chelsea. 2-2 against City. I know we've lost at City and at Chelsea, but that is again when we were decimated by injuries. Even the first day we were without 8 players against Chelsea. We still drew 1-1. And so it's a great case of what might have been. The great what-if season for me is this season. And I just hope it's not a case of boom and bust, a case of, because obviously this COVID situation, it was a unique situation like we will probably never, ever see before, or the likes of since. And so to get Tobin Heath and Christian Press in the manner and the fashion that we did was basically only because of the COVID situation affecting the NWSL in America. And I don't know if our budget has been overly stretched to bring them in. And we've kind of like banked on them helping us get that £350,000 extra from the Champions League for the first time, going into it next season is the money. And so without getting that extra money, I don't know if we're going to have that, kind of impetus in this summer to go and get who we need to get to jump into that top 3. So overall, I'd give it a C-, but with a great tagline of the what if season.
Hopefully next year you can get the players in the summer, and then hopefully next year you can push on and go and finish higher up. It is heartbreaking when you're so close. It is heartbreaking.
Oh, I know, you can just see the players like Katie Zellum, Lauren James, Leah Galton. You can clearly see how much it means to them. Especially coming through the ranks. Ella Toon, what a fantastic season she has. Oda Battle, a great signing at right back. Personally, I think clearly should be in the team of the season, overall WSL team of the season at right back. She's been fantastic. We've had some fantastic performances this season, some not so good ones as well, but it's just been, it's just, as you say, that closeness. It's, so close you can almost touch it. But it's the what if season.
Well, moving on to the men's game. So Man United, obviously second in the table, and making Man City wait that little bit longer to claim the title. They've wrapped it up quite a long time ago, but just for confirmation, after their win yesterday, Man United are making them wait a little bit longer. What have you thought about this season? It's been crazy. At one point, United were down in 14th, then they were top of the table, then they've been hovering around second and third. But what have you made of it?
I think personally, there's been far too much criticism of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. In terms of the team and everything, we've had our start to the season was obviously just like everybody else's, completely impacted by COVID. I think if you look at the way the fixtures were structured, because of our going into we lost in the semi-finals, I think, of the Europa, was it Europa League last season? I think it was. But then the start of this season, there was about a 30-day gap between the two.
A lot.
And so we had one pre-season friendly at Old Trafford against Aston Villa. And so there wasn't that break at all to recharge the batteries, and just be refreshed in the players' minds. Because you got to think, mental health, we go on about it, is such a big thing. And that's just not, are you okay? And it is in terms of the whole body. And we talk about, players' wages and all that high, but that's just completely separate. No matter how much you earn, it's the body that's important and the mind. And if you can't get that break, and if you can't recharge the batteries, as we couldn't, because of how far we went in the Europe last season and how close it was to this season, there was no break. And so that's why you saw a really rubbish start to the season with, losing that 6-1 game to Spurs was the nadir of that. And that was because we had no pre-season. But from there, because I always say those first 3, 4, 5 games where we were not so good, that was our pre-season, getting ready for what followed. And what's followed since then, yes, we've had poor results, Burnley and Sheffield United off the top of my head. But from what's followed there, I think, what is it, with nearly 30 games unbeaten away from home now? It's been
incredible.
It's been absolutely sensational. People have tried to nitpick to find ways to put Ollie down. But when you got Bruno Fernandes, 27 goals and 17 assists from midfield, he's equalled Frank Lampard's best ever goal-scoring Premier League midfield season. We still got, I think, 3 or 4 games to go. That's incredible. Then he got the rise of Marcus Rashford. Then he got the rise of Mason Greenwood as well. Couple that with Scott McTominay, who I reckon is fantastic. People criticise McTominay and Fred in midfield, but I think Scott McTominay is fantastic. And then you got Harry Maguire at the back, playing every single minute up until when he came off against Aston Villa. It used to be, 80 million, he's a flop. No, he's a fantastic defender. And you got Shaw at left back, another success. AWB at right back. Henderson and De Gea, the way he's managed that as well, Solskjaer, imagine having 2 fantastic goalkeepers and not hearing any bad stories coming out. So De Gea is unhappy because he's been benched, or Henderson, he wants to be first choice. Boo to De Gea. None of that. The way he's managed his whole squad has been fantastic. And there's still a 1% chance of us winning the league. Yes, City have got to lose all 3 games remaining. Who knows where their mindset is looking forward towards a Champions League final. Newcastle are on fire, by the way. So, they couldn't lose to Newcastle. Who knows?
They are on fire.
We've got a tough schedule. So I just personally think we've had an incredible season. I think if you look back at the records, no other team that has got this far into the Europa League final has had as good a season as we've had in the Premier League. It has always affected a team, be it 3rd, 4th, 5th or 6th. I think when we won the Europa League under Jose, we finished 6th in that season, if I remember rightly. And so to finish 2nd have a chance of 1st, still, I know it's probably going to get to City, but that's the great part of being a fan. There's that hope. There's the hope that always kills. But I just think we've had a tremendous season, very, very underrated season. And if we can win the Europa League and finish 2nd, personally, no matter what Pep does, I would give the Manager of the Season award to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Because the way he's just brought everything together, dealt with everything perfectly, has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, I've always been, people have criticised, said to me, he's only got the job because he's ex-United. You look at them, say, compare that to, say, Arteta, ex-Arsenal. Look at the job he's doing there. Let's say Lampard at Chelsea, ex-Chelsea. You know, oh, but he only came from Mulder. That the Mulder job formulated and created the manager he is now. Similar to where the job at Aberdeen formulated and created Sir Alex Ferguson. You need that, I wouldn't kind of say little job, but you need that booster.
Warm-up job.
Yeah, it's kind of a step up. I mean, if I was to go straight in now to be the head of Sky Sports production of TV, I wouldn't have, I'd be lost. But, it's all having that progression up the ladder. So I think he's done fantastic and deserves so much credit. I really, really do. We've had, I'd say 8.5, 9 out of 10 season, because everything has just worked out fabulously.
Well, it will be an even better season if they were to win the Europa League. What do you think? It's against Villarreal in the final. What do you think are Man United's chances in that final? What's your prediction?
Well, I hope, pray that we win, but there's always that worry in finals, especially one with the opposition that features Unai Emery. If you look at Unai Emery's Europa League record, especially in finals, it is very, very good, very scary. So we can't rule Villarreal out at all. I am not looking past that final at all. That is going to be, people said it's a walkover and stuff like that, especially with Villarreal's last result against Celta Vigo. But for me, I think it's going to be very difficult. I hope and pray that we win, and who knows, an All Manchester Super Cup in Belfast. Oh, that's going to be very fun if they win it. Personally, I'm backing Chelsea to face us in the Super Cup. I don't want to see City win the Champions League, no.
Okay.
But say from our perspective, the Europa League final, I think it's going to be, I'm going to say 2-1, 3-1 to us. We do the usual, go behind early, come back to win. That's what we generally do this season. It seems strange that teams attack us and go 1-0 up when they can see our record. It's almost a suicide mission scoring against us first. So I just think Bruno, if Bruno wins Europa League with us this season and then wins the European Championships in the summer with Portugal, I don't see a reason why he can't win the Ballon d'Or. He's had that good a season, that impressive. But he's just magic. He's probably the best I've seen following us in terms of a new signing coming in to turn aside completely since Cantona, I would say. I know we've had RVP, Ronaldo, etc. since then. So they grew into the team, and RVP was the final missing piece of the jigsaw in that season. But Bruno, he took a team that was very much not good. Let's just say that under Jose, the final bit was, it all fell to pieces. When we got Bruno in, we can see the impact he's had. It's been fantastic. So for me, he's definitely a Ballon d'Or candidate. We've got Messi, Ronaldo moving down, Mbappe, Haaland, the next generation, etc. But for me, it's all about Bruno.
Well, before we finish, we do always ask this question to our guests. So we're going to ask you, from the men's or women's game, who do you think is the greatest player that you've ever seen play live? You can have a women's player and a male player.
Ooh, this is tough. Ooh. For me, I think the best female player in terms of our team that I've seen play for us, obviously not 3 years, sorry. I would probably say, like I say, Lauren James for us. The talent, I was there on the first ever game against Liverpool in the Conti Cup at Prenton Park. Even then, 16-year-old, she was fantastic. The skills, the upper body strength, just somebody so young is fantastic. So for me, I'd probably say her. And from the men's team, the best player I've seen, how can you go? Can you go better than Bex? Better than that class of '92? Scholes. I mean, I'm thankful of being alive for that generation. I really, really am. And seeing '99 treble, that was fantastic. So I've probably got to say Bex. As much as Ronaldo, everybody. So for me, it's Bex, and Lauren James. Don't ask, two English people, surprisingly, but yes.
That's good choices. Good choices. Well, Adam, it's been great talking to you. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully we can get you back on again and have some more views on maybe the start of the next season and how you think it's going to go.
No troubles. Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you very much. Great to be joined there by Adam Bateman talking about the men's and women's game. But make sure you stay tuned because we have lots more lined up. We've got loads of guests who are due to be coming on. So please continue to do what you can to support the channel. Subscribe, like, leave some comments, whatever you can. We do really appreciate it. And we will see you next time.